Hello, friends. This is Sam Chaney reporting for Weaponized News. Today, September 18th, 2025. Thank you for joining us on this Thursday edition of Weaponized News. A lot to get to today, as always. So now they're unifying the technocracy in the UK with trade deals signed by Stallmer, Fabian Socialist, and Trump. So we have that to cover today. Trump has declared that Antifa is a terrorist organization, so you can expect a federal crackdown now on Antifa. What else do we got today? Bold claims by the Department of Homeland Security. They say under the Biden administration, over 450,000 unaccompanied migrant children went missing in the United States. Well, why does no one in the government get in trouble who are in positions of authority under the Biden administration? Mayorkas, former head of the Department of Homeland Security, and go down the list. Cash bell's blind. Nothing happened with Epstein, apparently. Right? It's a Democrat hoax. So there you go. We're policemen of the world, apparently. Seizing the Coast Guard claims they seized 75,000 of cocaine, pounds of cocaine. I don't know. We have that video. It's wild. As our Vice President, J.D. Vance, jokes about assassinating fishermen, we have that video as well. Cancel culture on the right wing is ramping up here now. They're creating lists of people that were offensive to Charlie Kirk's passing and doxing and going after these people on the interwebs, reporting them to their employers and so on and so on. In the midst of Jimmy Kimmel getting fired essentially from his job over there at pushing propaganda on his late night show. We have all that reporting to get to. Trump floats polling licenses if networks are against him after Jimmy Kimmel suspended. Continuing here. We have public health news. We have a secession of the West Coast from the CDC as far as public health goes. So we have that creepy sign, and the whole thing's creepy. We got, they say expanding organ access to patients and restoring trust. They're doing a big push to try to get you to trust the health department at the federal level again, after they said, oh yeah, they're murdering people in American hospitals for their organs, right? It's just, we live in dystopic nightmare here now. We got the head of the HHS, Jim O'Neill. We'll play clips of him. It sounds all good. You know what I mean? But I don't trust the government, so there's that. And you shouldn't either. You know what I mean? And we're still waiting for someone, somewhere, sometime, as the skeleton on the keyboard meme, to be held accountable for all the massive crimes that the government's committed against us, violations of our constitutional rights, natural rights, civil rights. Go down the list of the tyranny they bestowed upon us. And we got zero and a blind FBI director. So there you go. Continuing here, what else do we got today? Economic news. Don't be a panicking. Trust in Trump. Of course, all that's bullshit. We'll expose that. Big vote today at the United Nations Security Council for a ceasefire there in Aardvark land. And guess who's the one vote against a ceasefire in Aardvark land? That would be America, U.S. And so, as the title of the show says, U.S. loves genocide and ethnic cleansing program in Gaza. Indeed, they do. They don't represent me. Who do they represent? Technocracy is who the U.S. federal government represents. Wake up, MAGA. You won't. So you're going to get what you deserve. Be careful what you wish for. You just may get it. And so the United States vetoes UN Security Council resolution demanding a permanent Gaza ceasefire and release of captives or hostages. And so the one vote against it, as was foretold by Weaponized News, it didn't take much to see this is a continuing trend. The sixth vote by America at the United Nations against a ceasefire in Gaza. And so all the aardvark evil to expose on this show. Let's get to on this day in history. On this day in history of September 18th, going back to the year 1635, we saw the 30 Years' War kick off. Holy Roman Emperor Ferdinand II declares war on France, kicking off the 30 Years' War back in 1635. Fast forwarding in our history to 1789. On this day, America, U.S. government, saw its first loan raised. It needed to raise the money to pay the salaries of the U.S. president and Congress. Fast forward a little bit, 4 years to 1793. On this day, U.S. President George Washington lays the cornerstone of the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. Very good Freemason action there from George Washington. On this day in 1812, we saw the Great Fire of Moscow. The Great Fire of Moscow burns out after 5 days. It destroyed an estimated 75% of the city and killed an estimated 12,000 people. Quite a horrific fire there. Moving forward in history to 1850, on this day, U.S. Congress passes fugitive slave law as part of Compromise of 1850, requires slaves be returned to their owners. The next year, 1851, we saw the first edition of the failing New York Times published on this day and sold for a price of 2 cents a copy. There is no inflation. And in a horrific day of treachery here in America shall be celebrated. On this day in 1947, the Central Intelligence Agency officially comes into existence after being established by President Truman earlier in the year in July. In 1958, on this day, and it ties right back to locally where I'm from, the Central Valley, Fresno, California, known as the Fresno Drop, Bank of America mails out 60,000 Bank of America cards in Fresno. A giant scam fraud. Who cares? They're the Bank of America, and you're bad. The first credit card, later renamed Visa. So there you go. Get in debt or you're bad. And the private central bank cartel, they're good. Moving forward here in history, 1975, the FBI captures Patty Hearst on this day. American publishing heiress turned bank robber Patty Hearst captured by the FBI in San Francisco, California. In 1989, on this day, Internet Corporation for Assigned Numbers, Names and Numbers, ICANN, is formed. I think later Obama signed the duties of assigning names and numbers on the interwebs over to the United Nations. Go Obama. And then in 2022, on this day, then President Joe Biden says in a CBS TV interview, we still have a problem with the bat disease and we're still doing a lot of work on it, but the pandemic is over. get your booster, according to New York governor, as we've been reporting here now. And then just last year, time flies when you're having fun and killing terrorists. Walkie-talkies belonging to Hezbollah armed group explode across Lebanon, killing 20 people and injuring more than 450 people, as the Aardvark defense minister declares, we are at the start of a new phase in the war. Remember that? Blowing up pagers, walkie-talkies. They may even have put explosives in your cell phone. So we do appreciate all of those efforts to eradicate terrorism by terrorists out of Aardvark land. Where are we at here now in our civil liberties on this day in history? Going back to the CIA, the National Security Act went into effect on this day, creating a Central Intelligence Agency and the National Security Council, and introducing decades of lawless abuses. Trust the government. Trump's the president. You know what I mean? The law had been signed by President Harry Truman on July 26, 1947, went into effect on this day in 1947 of September 18th. The CIA has been responsible for a long history of secret and illegal activities during its history and violated the civil liberties of thousands of Americans in different ways. The CIA's abuses, along with those of other federal agencies, were documented by the Senate Church Committee reports. One of the most notorious CIA actions involved Operation Chaos. Operation Chaos. Operation Chaos. Order out of chaos. Where does this all come from? It comes from your loving government, in which Operation Chaos, in which the agency spied on Americans in violation of its charter, which prohibited any activity within the United States. U.S. Operation Chaos originated with an order by then, quote, liberal president Lyndon Baines Johnson, who believed that the anti-Vietnam War movement was supported by foreign governments. In response, the CIA delivered 4 reports to Johnson, none of which supported his view. Continuing here, on this day in our civil liberties history, in 1987, the New York Times exposes FBI Library Awareness Program. A front page article in the New York Times on this day exposed an FBI program of snooping on people's use of public libraries. The secret program was known as the Library Awareness Program and designated as a counterintelligence effort. But what the hell? Now you have a blind FBI director, so I guess that's better than them spying on what books you check out from the library. I don't know. USA, USA, go MAGA. Okay, here we go. Here's our transition. High production value tyranny video posted by dog killer Ice Barbie Christy Nome, head of the Department of Homeland Security. And I don't think we'll play the audio. Here's just the video, because we'll go, man, what the hell? We'll play the audio. Who gives a hoot anymore? This is propaganda from your Department of Homeland Security, posted today, and then we'll get into all the news for you.
Load up on guns, bring your friends. It's fun to lose and to pretend. She's overboard and self-assured. Oh no, I know what turn you. Hello, hello, hello,
Come to the front door.
So indeed, we love martial law, police state, technocracy here in the all right wingers love it. MAGA, USA, USA. Can we even stomach this? It's highly produced. It's a great video. Let's show it anyway. Here's Melania Trump. They drool over her, right? Mashup from the UK visit here. We love technocracy. So there you go. It is all very elegant, and what a show they do put on for us serfs. Plutonium said that he tried to watch Boiler Room, but you couldn't find Ruckus on there. They need to give Ruckus more airtime on the Boiler Room. Here's some more images, and they are quite striking, I must admit, but you got to realize these are tyrannical maniacs that somehow we're supposed to be worshiping. Quite a show they put on there, and there is symbolism in everything they do. The purple hat, the Masonic checkerboard floor there you can see, and there's some symbolism going on with the red, all this stuff. It's all occultic symbolism thrown in your face, laughing at you. And then here you go. We love Fabian Socialist. Here is Trump with Keir Starmer. And so we love it here in America. If we had a real president that was for America first and freedom, he'd be calling this bullshit out. Here they are signing a technocracy agreement. President Trump and UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer just signed a historic technology prosperity deal to usher in the new golden age of innovation for a future of freedom and prosperity, for a future of tyranny and despotism, to correct their miswording there on this technocracy agreement between America and UK. Here it is.
Did I sign this, Howard? Did I sign this? Are you sure, Scott? If the deal's no good, I'm blaming you, Scott. It's a great honor.
So it's a great honor to laugh, sell out America, and half the idiots cheered on. Isn't it wonderful? Here's more details about this technology prosperity deal. It was signed today. Obviously, we just showed you the video. Technology prosperity deal, a landmark science and technology agreement that will propel the US-UK special relationship to new heights for the technological age, technocracy, and deliver wins for the American people and American innovation globally. The technocracy, the technology prosperity deal establishes joint innovatives between the two nations, primary research and standards institutions across artificial intelligence, nuclear energy, and quantum computing to bring transformative benefits to citizens for accelerating breakthroughs in healthcare and lowering energy costs and supporting national security. On intelligence, the TPD, they're calling it, technology prosperity deal strengthens and reinforces the partnership between the United States between the U.S. Center for AI Standards and Innovations and the UK AI Security Institute to exchange best practices in meteorological metrology. Gee, I can't even pronounce it. Excuse me. And standards development for. I think they misspelled it. I think they're saying methodology. Anyhow, for AI models, improve understanding of the most advanced models and exchange talent between the institutes. The TPD established a flagship AI for science research program between the U.S. Department of Energy, Health, and National Science Foundation and its UK counterparts, geared towards cutting-edge biotechnology research and precision medicine. As part of this, we'll collaborate on automated labs and new scientific data sets, focusing especially on cancer and chronic disease research that will improve the lives of our peoples. What a freaking nightmare. On civil nuclear energy, the TPD aligns the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the UK Office of Nuclear Regulation, and the UK Environmental Agency to streamline and accelerate licensing, targeting reactor design reviews within 2 years and site licensing within 1 year. Hey, maybe build them on a fault line. That's been the trend, and it seems to be working out fine, right? The TPD also commits the UK to achieve full independence from Russian nuclear energy by the end of 2028, bringing the UK into alignment with US statutory commitments, ensuring a secure and reliable supply chain for advanced nuclear fuels in both countries. The TPB facilitates coordination of fusion energy research and development, all bullshit fraud, as we've covered here, including through the use of artificial intelligence with enhanced collaboration to develop harmonized, responsible, and pro-innovative policies to enable commercial development of fusion technologies. And on quantum computing, the TPD advances trusted interoperable standards for quantum technologies and establishes a joint benchmark task force that will cover across quantum computing hardware, software, and algorithms. Additional partnerships between our top quantum institutions will lead to more secure quantum supply chain and compatibility to accelerate breakthroughs in defense, finance, energy, and beyond. Quite a bit there, but we do love our technocracy, and UK loves it as well. And so we're all partnered up on the deal here now for your scientific dictatorship future. Isn't it wonderful? Here's Trump about we'll play it on Charlie Kirk. And it's getting weird. Okay, we mourn the death of Charlie Kirk. It was a national tragedy, but man, it's starting to get weird. The Pentagon, there's reports the Pentagon are floating ideas, basing their training models around Charlie Kirk's ideology, something like this. It's just getting weird, man.
Just last week, a great American, Charlie Kirk, was heinously assassinated for speaking his mind. He was a great young man, incredible future. Some people said he might be president someday. I told him, I said, Charlie, I think you have a good shot someday at being president. And he just wanted to take care of youth. He loved youth. I've never seen anybody relate to youth like Charlie, and they related to him, and they're devastated. But I appreciate the many British citizens who have offered their condolences. And again, Charlie was a great person. We'll be going out to a service on Sunday. I'll be leaving with some of the people in this room just to celebrate Charlie and all that he's done. So incredible.
It's getting to be a bit much. here now. Yeah, the TPD there, Karen. It's all for our own good. Gunther wants his digital twin to pay his rent. Yeah, so do I. What the hell? Get to work, digital twin. Pay my damn taxes too while you're at it. The White House has declared, according to Trump, that Antifa is a terrorist organization. I don't necessarily disagree with them here, but they're coming after you and I next. You understand the slippery slope of tyranny we're going down. Plutonium said he was calling out Trump 5 years ago for being a tyrant. Yeah, well, good job. Good job indeed. Today, the White House says, I am pleased to inform our many USA patriots that I am designating Antifa a sick, dangerous, radical left disaster as a major terrorist organization. So who's funding them? They're floating, oh, it's Soros, this, that, and other. Well, arrest them, arrest their funders. You guys, everything's under surveillance. The investigation is not even hard for these assholes. So quit lying and go take action. You know what I mean? And then arrest the government that was in charge before you that allowed all of this to happen. That will never happen. And so they're disingenuous frauds. Republicans and Democrats, the government are a fraud. There you go. Trump to designate Antifa a major terrorist organization. Here he is talking about it.
Agitators.
Who are they?
Well,
and where's the money coming from? Is it foreign entities?
Yeah, you're going to find out, and we're going to find out in great detail. And it surprised me that Biden wouldn't have done it, because it really became hot over the last 3-4 years. It surprised me that Biden wouldn't do it, but then as I got to know him, first of all, he didn't call the shots. He wasn't calling the shots. But as we got to see what was happening in Biden's group, Antifa plays perfectly for them, absolutely perfectly. But it's a terrorist organization, in my opinion, and we're going to find out all the...
Biden wasn't calling the shots. You ain't calling the shots, Trump, so F off. You know what I mean? Okay, here's a bold claim by the Department of Homeland Security. Again. I'm banging on my desk screaming, arrest the government. They refuse to. This claim, under the Biden administration, I'll put it on the screen here for you. This is a bold freaking claim. Where are all these kids? Under the Biden administration, over 450,000 unaccompanied migrant children went missing in the United States, many of them victims of human and sex trafficking. DHS is leading efforts to conduct welfare checks on these children to ensure they are safe and not being exploited. That's a hell of a claim, man.
Hi, John. Yeah, we have reported countless times on the hundreds of thousands of unaccompanied children who crossed the border during the Biden administration, and then they were released to unvetted sponsors. Well, in this case, the smugglers went right through the Border Patrol checkpoints, pretended to be the parents, and also sedated the children. 2 U.S. citizens here and 2 Mexican nationals who are still wanted are charged right now in this smuggling scheme. Officials say that they smuggled children as young as 5 to 13 years old from Juarez, Mexico into the U.S. between May 2024 and October 2024. Pictures from court documents show the suspects at Border Patrol checkpoints posing as the children's parents by showing fake U.S. documents. The smugglers are accused of using gummies laced with marijuana to sedate these children, and in at least one case, a child was sent to the hospital.
We've seen everything from Benadryl to now these gummies being used to be able to sedate the children, and that way they're less likely to answer questions or provide anything that's going to be inconsistent or contrary to what the smuggler is saying.
Court documents include text messages to the suspect translated to English, quote, "Young lady, are you working today? I have a boy 7 and 8. They are small." Another text says, quote, "Also, Fanny, I have 2 little girls ages 4 and 5. Proof of life pictures of some of the children were found on the suspects' phones. Special Agent Stevens says the parents trust the smugglers to deliver their children to family members in the U.S. despite the significant risk.
So, yeah, that's all horrific. And Gunther rightfully points out, oh, yeah, 500. Remember Madeleine Albright, famous quote that it was worth it to kill, what was it, 60 Minutes, I believe, was the interviewing her. And they asked her, was it worth it? 500,000 dead Iraqi children said it was worth it. You know what I mean? So, and then Karen says, you don't even want to know about augmented humans. You don't want to know about the missing children. Yeah, what are they doing? They're experimenting on them, most likely. But what the hell, America? Here's propaganda from ICE. You know what I mean? So USA, America needs you. Join ICE now. So there you go. There you go. ICE arrested all of Congress for child molestation. No, actually not. ICE arrested worst of the worst criminal illegal alien pedophiles convicted of horrific crimes against children. Congress? No, it wasn't Congress. We were mistaken. Excuse me. It was actually these illegals, right? And yeah, I don't doubt they're all bad, you know what I mean? But again, why don't you arrest Congress? Organs, etc. We're going to get to that. Organ harvesting here. If you're in the United States illegal, it's time to leave. And so yesterday we reported that the Department of Homeland Security and ICE are telling us that 2 million illegal aliens have self-deported since Trump second administration. That's their numbers. I don't believe them, but that's what they're saying. With self-deportation, you have choices. So if you're illegal in this country, leave now. Here's the U.S. Coast Guard's claim of 75,000 pounds of cocaine seized. That's a lot of freaking cocaine. As we continue with Operation Pacific Viper, apparently we're out there, policing international waters. So continuing our leading drug interdiction efforts, the Coast Guard just hit a major milestone through Operation Pacific Viper, proud to protect the American people from the threat of narco-terrorism. Is the Coast Guard going to arrest the CIA? I don't see that happening. Here's video of them raiding an alleged drug trafficking boat. There you go. I guess at least they didn't just whack them. Here's J.D. Vance literally making life of extrajudicial executions by the U.S. government.
So I was talking to I said Secretary of Defense, but our new Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. And I was talking to Secretary Hegseth, and you know what he said? He said, you know what, Mr. Vice President? We don't see any of these drug boats coming into our country. They've completely stopped. And I said, I know why. I would stop too. Hell, I wouldn't go fishing right now in that area of the world. But that is what a military that is dedicated to its purpose and a commander-in-chief that is dedicated to the national good can do. If we just have our actual government fighting for the interests of Americans and nobody else, we can make this country safer, we can protect your jobs, we can make sure you've got the best wages anywhere in the world, and we can stop this terrible poison from coming into our country. We just needed a president who was willing to fight for you, and now we've got one.
Violation of international law, due process, we don't know. Again, we don't know who these guys are. They just whacked them. Could be you and me next. Who cares? You know what I mean? Laugh about it. On to the MAGA censorship campaign, cancel culture from the right. And they cheered on. Let's hear as Jimmy Kimmel. And I'm no fan of Jimmy Kimmel, but they're pushing it here. Remember when the Biden administration put in nudge units at big tech to get me and many other people banned during the medical intervention period? This is the same idea, but a different way to go about doing it by the Trump administration, and everybody that was against it in MAGA under the Biden administration is now for it. And so there you go, complete hypocrite frauds that they are. MAGA, USA, USA.
Well, Jimmy Kimmel was fired because he had bad ratings more than anything else, and he said a horrible thing about a great gentleman known as Charlie Kirk. And Jimmy Kimmel is not a talented person. He had very bad ratings, and they should have fired him a long time ago. So, you can call that free speech or not. He was fired for lack of talent.
He was fired because they're pressuring, the FCC is pressuring. Here's what he got allegedly. This is what got old Jimmy Kimmel fired or suspended or whatever you want to say. He ain't on the air no more.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. Demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish. Okay.
It's kind of funny. Trump floats idea of pulling licenses from networks are against him after Jimmy Kimmel suspended. Trump suggested that the federal government might revoke the licenses of broadcast television networks that are, quote, against him. Trump said it would be up to FCC chairman Brendan Carr to decide whether to cancel networks' licenses. And then here is FCC chairman.
No, look, again, broadcast TV is different. We're on a cable show right now. You don't have an FCC license. You don't have an obligation to serve the public interest. Podcasts don't either. Stand-up comedians, whether they're on lots of forms of communications, don't. And Kimmel is free to do that. But if you have a broadcast TV license, that means that you have something that very few people have. And you're excluding other people from having access to that valuable public resource. And it comes with an obligation to serve the public interest. And again, over the years, there's been a rule in place at the FCC that local TV stations get to preempt programming that they don't think meets the needs of their communities. But recently, these national programmers, ABC, Disney, Comcast, NBC, they've been exercising outsized control and power over those local TV stations, and there's been no pushback. And this is a very significant moment because local broadcasters are now pushing back on national programmers for the first time that I can think of in modern history. That's one of the things we want at the FCC. We want to empower local broadcasters that have the public interest obligation to push back on national programmers so that people have more choice.
It's just so ridiculous here now, isn't it? GOP lawmaker blocks blockbuster claim. That's old Massey. He claims that the FBI has at least 20 names of suspected Epstein clients out of the Miami Herald. And they were the first major U.S. media outfit that was reporting on Epstein even back in the day, for those that have been following it. Thomas Massie told the House Judicial Committee that he thinks the FBI has the names of at least 20 people tied to Epstein, including prominent figures in music industry, finance, politics, and banking. Well, Kash Patel don't think so, so there's that, because he went blind. On to, where are we at here? On to, public health. We love our public health. Now under Bobby Kennedy Jr., Maha. Well, the West Coast has broken with the federal government regarding miracle guidelines. West Coast states issue joint miracle guidelines in shift away from CDC. So four Western states, I'm in one of them, California, go public health, like the worst outcome. Who cares? Who cares? Trust the experts, trust the science. 4 Western states have come together to issue unified miracle recommendations for the upcoming respiratory illness season. And California has enacted a new law to base the state's immunization guidance on independent medical organizations rather than the CDC. So there you go. Public health secession here in America. And it just, I can't even talk on the subject because I'll just start screaming. So we're going to move on, but know that this is not correct. What they have been doing and continue to do, specifically in regards to California State Health Department. We've had the whistleblower. We've exposed it all here now. That's why you need to support Weaponized News, bringing you independent reporting and analysis, interviewing the whistleblowers, exposing it all, from former California State Department of Public Health employees to nurses to doctors and on and on. All our reporting is all there on the record at Odysee, at Rumble, I do believe, as well. But they're not going to let us break through here, obviously. This is creepy coming out of the feds. Maybe they should have said, hey, this is creepy as hell. It's from Bobby Kennedy Jr. today and old Dr. Oz. Expanding organ access to patients and restoring trust is a sign they had at their deal here. That's, to me, that's creepy as shit. But what do I know? This is a public service announcement from Weaponized News. Take your name off the organ donor list now if you haven't already. Funny seeing all these characters that care about our health more than we do all on the stage together. Jim O'Neill is actually quite a tall man, it appears. And so it is good to see them all there in a proper perspective. And there's our current acting director of the CDC, Jim O'Neill. We'll have more from him. What else did they have here? Expanding organ access to patients and rebuilding trust. It's just creepy, dude. Just creepy. Here's aforementioned Mr. Technocracy, again, former director of Peter Thiel Hedge Fund, now acting CDC director. Let's hear from him, Jim O'Neill.
What is sacred? The personal can be sacred. The eternal can be sacred. Compassion can be sacred. Sacrifice can be sacred. And saving the life of another by giving of yourself unites these dimensions of the sacred into one line that only points to the future. But fear can stand in the way. Living donors, even in their generosity, fear that saving another life could damage their own. And families, gathered around a hospital bed, fear that discordant incentives by procurement organizations could disrupt life-saving care for their loved one. Donating an organ is an act of great compassion, but every episode of abuse in the procurement system can frighten potential donors away. That's why today is so important.
You think? They have already admitted, HHS admitted, hospitals in America were killing patients and taking their organs, i.e. organ harvesting in America. It's already been admitted. We reported on air. Plutonium says the organ economy. The economy is so great. Check your kidney at the door. You know what I mean? Like, what the F is going on here, dude? So now they're touting HHS moves to bar Miami organ transplant agency. Just how freaking creepy is this? It's like, it's your bad dystopic horror movie. I don't know if you guys seen that meme. There's like a hot chick showing off her butt, leading a guy into like this creepy looking warehouse, and they're like, watch what you do. You know what I mean? Like, damn, dude. Damn, check your kidney at the door in the Trump economy here now. We'll get to more economic news coming up. They did have a consortium on long COVID today at HHS. So they're saying it's a thing, long bat disease. Sorry, I even said the word there, YouTube. Here it is. Let's hear from, again, Jim O'Neill about long bat disease.
We've learned a lot about symptoms of long COVID, a long list, an informal list so far. And I would like to add one symptom of long COVID that I don't think we've mentioned yet, and that's alienation. So many people are suffering and people around them don't believe them, don't take them seriously. It adds alienation to all of their other symptoms. And I want to thank you, Mr. Secretary, for convening this conversation, putting it on the web. I'm hoping you'll provide validation and support for people who are suffering from alienation, and also hope and optimism that we are putting more facts on the table, bringing more expertise, taking unstructured data and...
There you go. One solution, as Gunther has mentioned, is just blow out your internal organs with alcoholism, and they won't want to harvest your organs. That is one solution. It may be harsh, but it may be our only chance here. There was this big, and I listened to it off and on, and it's very hard to follow, but there was this and tomorrow as well, and brought to my attention by Simon. There was this meeting at Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, ACIP. And I was listening to most of this on and off today. Hard to follow. They're talking about hepatitis B miracle and a couple others. Anyway, yeah, so that's tomorrow as well. It's open for public comment. So go check out the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices and let them know that how wonderful they all are over there. I don't know if I had much to report on it, honestly. As I said, hard to listen to, hard to follow, as all by design, obviously, and as boring as freaking watching paint dry. Okay, back to public health news. I think that's about all we have today. They're back and forth. I can't even talk. I don't even want to talk about it. Okay, on to the economy. The economy is back on track under President Trump. Well, the organ economy certainly is. There you go. Plutonium says I have bat toe and nobody will hang out with me. Yeah, I think that I think old Aaron Rodgers, that NFL quarterback that was anti-miracle, said that he had that as well. Said he had a bat toe, but I think it was a football injury. But what the hell? We can call yours that too. Bat toe is it's a known thing. Anyway, continuing. The economy is back on track under President Trump. Really? Here's why. Home ownership is more affordable. It's total bullshit. Driving costs less. Okay. Americans are spending like never before. I seen a bunch of reports saying it's down, but whatever, dude. Americans are earning more. Bullshit. Your inflation is squeezing everybody to death. Retirements are booming. AI is putting a lot of people out of work already, and industrial renaissance is here for technocracy. Yeah, I agree there. So isn't all that so wonderful propaganda from the White House? Well, let's hear. Here's a Soros-backed Philadelphia DA, Larry Kransner, and he says it's 100% necessary to compare MAGA movement to fascists.
Question was raised whether it was necessary to compare the MAGA movement to fascists.
100% necessary. My father volunteered and served in World War II. Half of my family tree is gone. And it's gone because of Nazis, and it's gone because of fascists.
FTC sues Live Nation and Ticketmaster for engaging in illegal ticket resale tactics and deceiving artists and consumers about price and ticket limits. Trump says that he will be speaking to President Xi of China on Friday to finalize the TikTok deal. Congressional Republicans are working on a short-term, quote, clean extension as we play this stupid game again, as we do every year. The government's going to shut down. Oh my God. They all need to resign and turn themselves into FEMA camps because they're insane criminals. That is your federal government, the crime syndicate. So we're going to play this bullshit one more year, one more time. The back and forth of, oh my God, we can't fund the corrupt government anymore. You know what I mean? I'm at the end of the rope here with this bullshit. Lutnick, Epstein's neighbor that Kash Patel can't see, all the evidence, the literal addresses prove it, but whatever, dude. Howard Lutnick, Commerce Secretary, now says under Biden, it was 10% for the big guy. Under Trump, it's 10% for America. Talking about this report out of the Wall Street Journal. NVIDIA will, that's the microchip maker, NVIDIA will invest $5 billion into Intel to jointly develop custom data center and personal computing products. Intel stock rose 30% pre-market. And they have aardvark backdoors built in as well. Oh, they left that part out. Thank you very much. S&P rallies to all-time high. Don't be a panicking. And that's the perfect time. Well, we'll show you this image. Meme out of the White House. There you go. And then, of course, here you go.
Ignore the panicins and trust in President Trump.
And there you go. Mortgage rates just fell to a 3-year low. So there you go. The kidney economy is going just fine and dandy. Where are we at here to, what do they say here? Report out of CBS News, and they say that according to Mortgage News Daily, 30-year fixed mortgage rates have dropped to an average of 6.13%. And that's still too damn high. Okay, we're blasting through it. And let me go ahead and plug now, and then we'll come back to geopolitical aardvark genocide news. Everybody go to weaponizednews.com, get yourself a holograph sticker, a white background sticker, and a clear sticker there for you. Put it on your laptop, your guitar, your bumper, your work locker, your cyber truck. Help support independent reporting and analysis on the interwebs like no one else. We do it here at Weaponized News. Go to weaponizednews.com. We appreciate all the subscribers and support that we have. Moving on here too. Told you Iran was bad. Iran executes man for allegedly spying for aardvarks. Activists say he was tortured. Report out of ABC News. So yeah, don't be an aardvark spy there in Iran, or this may be the fate you suffer. And side note, hug an aardvark today. Don't be antiseptic. The terrible Russia-Ukraine war continues. Of course, Putin invaded unprovoked, even though blah, blah, blah. We already know. But Putin's evil, YouTube. So thank you very much for that. Putin said today there are 700,000 Russian armed forces on the line of combat in the, quote, special military operation zone. That's quite a lot of Russian soldiers there, if we're to believe the most evil man in the world, Putin. And then here's our blind FBI director being called out to his face for being an aardvark, bitch.
cash.app. The American people want to know, how does it feel to be a cuck for Israel? Answer the question.
We're seeing and hearing what the FBI is doing on a daily basis.
You're claiming to serve the American people. You're serving Israel. Does it feel to be Israel's bitch? You don't care about kids getting raped. The American people want to know.
He's a patriot.
Patriot?
He's a patriot.
Rape kids? Is patriotism to you?
Thank you for your service, Darren.
Kids?
You're an idiot.
I'm an idiot? Really?
Yes, you are.
I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
She's going to get targeted. Better believe that. Macron, the Sun King, head of France, he says that the Gaza operations have resulted in a large number of dead and wounded to the extent that damages aardvark's image and credibility. You don't say. You don't say, Macron. Christian Zionist piece of filth. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson held a private meeting with AIPAC and aardvark leaders yesterday on Capitol Hill, wherein he reportedly pledged to screen out, quote, isolationist GOP candidates to prevent that wing of the party from growing larger in the House. Representative Tim Walberg, a Republican out of Minnesota, who was also part of the meeting, revealed he'd been texting recently with the Anti-Defamation League CEO, Jonathan Greenblatt, about the proliferation of antiseptic conspiracy theories about the killing of influencer Charlie Kirk. Aardvark Insider reported, though nearly all the participants remained mum on what went down, Representative David Kolstoff, Republican out of Tennessee, tweeted out an image of the room, and you can make out as many of the participants as possible through these images, as reported by Aardvark Insider. Here you go. Serving American interests, your Christian Zionist pieces of shit. Excuse my language. These people piss me off to no end. And there you go. Fraud in your face. It don't matter. Well, in the last 24 hours, we can gravely report here now, according to the Gaza Ministry of Health, that there's been 4 deaths due to famine and malnutrition, including 1 child, bringing the total of deaths from malnutrition to 435, i.e. famine. Man-made famine by aardvarks there. And then the regular just, blow you up with a bomb or shoot you with a bullet. In the last 24 hours, 79 Palestinians have been killed and 228 injured on the Gaza Strip, according to the Gaza Health Ministry. And so we're fair and balanced, as Fox News used to say here. There's reports of 3 IDF soldiers being killed there. And I saw a report of another one, but we'll just say 3 for now, maybe 4. And so aardvarks are also suffering. They don't care about their soldiers. He's effing me. These reports that there's now another rift between Bibi and Trump. I don't believe it. It's all bullshit, as was the last reported rift, according to the Wall Street Journal here now, over the attack on Qatar. Why Trump privately fumes about Netanyahu but gives him free rein. He's effing me, the U.S. president said of the aardvark prime minister after strikes on Hamas in Qatar. And they failed, by the way. One of the dudes that they supposedly whacked is still alive there. Side note on that. But I don't believe there's a rift between them at all. They're in lockstep. And in here is our president, shadow president, Bibi Netanyahu. He says he responded to interweb conspiracies that Aardvark Land was responsible for the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Let's hear him. I'd say it's quite a thing to make him feel compelled to actually make a public statement on video about alleged interweb conspiracy theories. Let's hear now from our Lord and Savior, Bibi Netanyahu.
Joseph Goebbels, the Nazi propaganda minister, said that the bigger the lie, the faster it will spread. Well, somebody has fabricated a monstrous big lie that Israel had something to do with Charlie Kirk's horrific murder. This is insane. It is false. It is outrageous. Charlie Kirk was a giant, a once-in-a-century talent who defended freedom, defended America, defended our common Judeo-Christian civilization. Charlie loved Israel. He loved the Jewish people. He told me so in a letter that he sent me just a few months ago. One of my greatest joys as a Christian, he said, is advocating for Israel and forming alliances with Jews to protect Judeo-Christian civilization. He encouraged me to make the case directly to the American people about how vital Israel is to U.S. national security. He told me, the Holy Land is so important to my life, it pains me to see support for Israel slip away. Now, if Charlie disagreed with a policy of mine or a decision here and there, not only did I not mind, I welcomed it. This is the essence of Charlie. This is the essence of a free country. It's exactly what Charlie stood for. And I knew that his suggestions always came from the heart, from his love for Israel and from his love for the Jewish people. A few weeks before his death, I spoke to Charlie. I invited him to visit Israel again. And sadly, that won't happen. Now some are peddling these disgusting rumors, perhaps out of obsession, perhaps with Qatari funding. What I do know is this: Charlie Kirk was a great man, and a great man deserves honor, not lies. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. May your memory be a blessing.
There you go. I mean, so the genocidal maniac says that aardvarks didn't do it. They didn't do it. I mean, I'm convinced. America is falling out of love with aardvark land. Surprisingly, the Economist headline here now, right? And where are they getting this from? Well, and as normal regular listeners of the show know, I don't put much stock in these polls, but The Hill tells us just under half of Americans now say aardvark land has gone too far in Gaza. Well, they haven't been following it. Obviously, they're polling uninformed Americans, because anyone that's being honest that's following this genocide has to say that I can't support it. Either that or you're a homicidal, genocidal maniac. Nearly half of Americans in a recent survey said aardvark land has gone, quote, too far in its war on Hamas in Gaza. This is an Associated Press NORC Research Center poll. and it polled Americans this week. It says it found that 49% of U.S. adults believe that aardvark land has gone too far in the Gaza Strip. Another, quote, 33% said the military response has been about right. Who are these 33% maniacs? Freemasons? I don't know. And 12% said it had not gone far enough. Who are these 12%? Just complete bloodthirsty maniacs? Apparently so. Watch out, America. They walk amongst you, if we're to believe this latest polling data. Okay. Here we go. President Trump with their little technocracy signs. It's all nice and cute in front of their podiums here. Because they're publicly, for our entertainment, there is a divide now between Big Brother UK and US. Bullshit. But anyway, this is the show they put on, so we report on it for you.
Mr. President, you alone in the whole world, have the power to persuade Prime Minister Netanyahu to stop the demolition of Gaza City, to stop the starvation of Palestine, and to stop the killing of civilians. If not now, when will you exercise that power and tell him to stop?
Sure.
And then for both of you all...
But you do understand about October 7th.
Of course,
you do understand.
So believe me, I understand.
One of the worst days in the history of humanity.
There you go. The worst day, one of the worst days in the history of humanity. So yeah, and Trump has the power, as the reporter there implied. I don't think so. Here's President Trump on UK's decision to recognize a Palestinian state. We have to remember October 7th.
Most violent days in the history of the world. Not just there, the history of the world. And I got to see the tapes, and I wish I didn't see them, actually. But I got to see them. And I want an end. I want the hostages released. And I think it's going to be okay. But it has been a brutal period of time. But this has been going on for a long time. This is not some...
The worst in the history of the world, essentially. There you go. And Aardvark Land implemented the Hannibal Doctrine on that day. And much of the video has already been debunked as being computer generated. On and on it goes. It don't matter. It doesn't matter. And here is President Trump. Aardvark Land and Gaza is complex, but it's got to get done. It's part of the real estate redevelopment program known as Greater Aardvark Land Project, as we continue to report here at Weaponized News. And don't you love their little technocracy placards on their podiums there? Tech Prosperity Deal, TPD.
Conflict, and as you know, we're working very hard on Israel and Gaza. Oh, that's happening over there. Complex, but it's going to get done.
There you go. They're gonna do ethnic cleansing. They're gonna do genocide, you see. And yeah, sadly, Karen, it's not January 6th, the worst attack in the history of the world. It's now October 7th. I know. U.S. cast 6th veto at United Nations over Gaza war. So, yeah, there was a vote today at the United Nations Security Council, where a proposed resolution for a ceasefire was made, and the one vote vetoing it on the UN Security Council, America, did just that, vetoed it. Once again, U.S. vetoes Security Council resolution demanding immediate Gaza ceasefire and hostage release. So, as the title of this show says, accurately, U.S. loves ethnic cleansing and genocide in Gaza, as proof by UN veto against a ceasefire and hostage release. Thank you very much, America. We love it. The blood's on your hands. Now, you're complicit in it. You understand? We still don't here, apparently. just we're beyond the pale here now. And then this, there it is, thumbnail for this show. United States vetoes UN Security Council resolution demanding a permanent Gaza ceasefire and release of captives. Its 43rd veto to block measures against Aardvark land. And it was a vote 14 in favor, 1 against America. So there you go. Talk about disgusting, despicable behavior. But what's it all about? We just bloodthirsty maniacs? Well, that, but there's a little bit more to it. Trump backs Tony Blair's plan for Gaza International Transnational Authority. President Trump has authorized Tony Blair to engage regional and international stakeholders in support of the former UK Prime Minister. He's a war criminal too, along with Bush and Cheney and all that whole crew. It don't matter. Trump loves it. Former UK Prime Minister Tony Blair's plan to create a post-war transitional authority to govern the Gaza Strip until control can be transferred to the Palestinian Authority, 4 sources told the Aardvark Times. The plan proposes the creation of the Gaza International Transitional Authority, Karen, GITA, along with several subsidiary structures. A U.S. official said that during the August 27th White House policy session, Trump made clear he was going to endorse Blair's proposal. The official also noted that the Aardvark finance minister, Smotrich, appears to be unaware of the decision, having stated yesterday that the Gaza Strip could be a potential real estate bonanza. Oh, it still will be. Don't get confused here. And then these great humanitarians at one of these meetings, how to carve up the real estate bonanza, Jared Kushner and Tony Blair, international war criminals. And what else do we got? Can we? I have a hard time stomaching Mike Huckabee. Here he is. Tell us one more time. U.S. Ambassador to Aardvark land. Mike Huckabee gets a standing ovation from Prime Minister Netanyahu and little Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, for saying Aardvarks are God's chosen people and the foundation of all morality. If you're a practicing Satanist, then and dark occultist, this may very well be true.
What an honor to be here for this incredible ceremony. Mr. Prime Minister, Secretary Rubio, all of the wonderful people who made this possible by their generosity, contributing to something that is historic and something that is a living memorial of what God has done. It was 4,000 years ago here in this city on Mount Moriah where God chose his people. He not only chose a people, but he chose a place. And then he chose for the people in this place a purpose. The people were the Jewish people. The place was Israel. And the purpose was to be a light to the world and to show that we don't have to look for God because he is looking for us. And that is what so separates the long history of why this city is so important. Those of us who are not Jewish, we thank you for giving all of us a foundation of morality and decency and civilization upon which our own faith is built, for without yours we don't have one. As I often tell my Jewish friends, you can be Jewish, you don't need me. But I cannot be who I am in my faith without the debt of obligation that I owe to you for having listened to God and been willing to be obedient to him when he called you to this place as his people for his eternal, everlasting purpose. And I salute you and join you tonight in the celebration of this wonderful, magnificent, incredible reminder that God never has been finished with Israel, and he never will be. This is the eternal home that he has chosen. God bless you all.
There you go, pure evil. If your God is Moloch and Baal, and you're into blood ritualistic sacrifices for your satanic evil gods, then there you go. It's wonderful. And then, well, the New Yorker reports that Benjamin Netanyahu says Aardvark land must become Sparta, hardened against the world. What does that mean for the country's future? They're not stupid. They know what they're doing. They're naked in their ethnic cleansing and genocide. And today, right now, over 450,000 Palestinians evacuate Gaza City, IDF says. A lot of them. Either do that or get whacked, and you may get whacked either way. It don't matter. About 450,000 people had evacuated Gaza City as of today, according to the IDF. Ethnic cleansing and in your face, cheered on. We love it. I'm going to wrap up this one. I think we'll just show this every day. There you go. Aardvark lands committing genocide in Gaza. UN report finds. And then final report of the show for you today. Kneecap, Faye Webster, and 400 other artists remove their catalogs from Aardvark land. No music for genocide. So they are indeed being isolated, but that's just anti-septic behavior, obviously. Hundreds of artists have yanked their music from streaming services in Aardvark land to protest the ongoing violence against the Palestinian people. No music for genocide is a cultural boycott of Aardvark land. Well, they're all anti-septic and deserve to be sanctioned and droned. And with that, we're going to wrap up this broadcast. As always, let me go, not always, but most of the time, when we have time, over to the Odysee. I see Gurr, John, over there. Thank you guys for tuning in. Gurr says, all cell phones have an explosive device already fitted. Surely there's an app for sorting out the battery. Indeed. Li-ion batteries burn nasty. No oxygen required. Indeed, Kerr. Indeed. John, what does he say? The claimed feuding between Trump and Bibi reminds me of a soap opera, back and forth stories, professional wrestling, i.e., are you not entertained? On the world stage of political theater, the aardvarks violate every ceasefire anyway. That's true. But it would be symbolically significant if the United States didn't veto it. But they would still violate it anyway, right? But at least we could say, hey, even Big Brother USA said, hey, little brother, or whichever way it goes, it's all just one government, right? At least we could say, hey, we vetoed it, but now we washed our hands like Pontius Pilate, right? We could say we wash our hands of this genocide. It's all on you, but we don't do that. We fully sign off on it. So at least symbolically speaking, we're still complicit in it. See what I mean? But I do agree with you, John. They would still just keep killing them. It wouldn't make a hill of ants of difference. Thank you guys for tuning in on the Odysee, the Bitchute. Thank you for tuning in on the Bitchute. Thank you for tuning in on YouTube. As always, thank you for tuning in on the old Rumble there. Appreciate it. He admitted to being a cuck. Oh, man. America is a meme state. It is indeed. Oh, man. Thank you guys for tuning in on Rumble live chat. As always over there, keeping us on our toes. No such thing as the chosen people, Dick Move says on the YouTube. I agree with you there. Thank you everybody for tuning in on X, Kick, Facebook, Twitch, and all the other platforms. As always, everybody do your own research, peace, love, and freedom. Speak on, take action. Have a great rest of your Thursday evening, and we'll be back here on Friday for more Weaponized News.